Stephane Roche, the Complicated Author. Welcome to episode 8. Today we will be discussing the poem called My Dream. Before we get into the 4 aspects of My Dream poem from the book called Dreams Are Poetic and the first season of Writing My Soul Away, I do want to say that please purchase Dreams Are Poetic. It's still on sale on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles as well. Let's get to it. Enjoy the show. Thank you for watching. We are now stepping into the first part of the poem, My Dream of Writing My Soul Away, Season 1, Episode 8. The motivational and inspirational aspect of my dream. So, my dream was always to be in the ring as a professional wrestler. As a child, my father, always played it on TV, and I was so drawn into it as I guess you could say as an infant. I really appreciate the sport. I call it a sport because a lot of these guys that go in the ring, work out, they practice. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill set and a lot of talent to get into this sport. Even though it's choreographed and it's planned and it's predetermined, but I argue with people all the time that it's considered a sport because to practice and to work out and to get in shape for a performance it's in the baselines of being a sport. Yes, I want to say first and foremost, my dad motivated me into wanting to follow that dream. I went from watching the old WrestleManias with Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Yokozuna was one of my favorites. Andre the Giant, even though that was a little before my time, like maybe 2 or 3 years before my time, but I was familiar with Andre the Giant, the narcissist Lex Luger. WCW was another one too, Sting, which is like the greatest wrestler of all time to me. Let's see, I got into Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, all of these guys, Ahman Johnson, Farouk. I can go on, the list could go on forever. I always got into professional wrestling. This is something I always wanted to do. I pursued it for a little bit. I joined a wrestling team. I joined a private independent company, but we'll get into that after. It built a bond between me and my father watching it. That's what motivated me because, there were times, throughout the week things needed to be done, but when it came time to WCW Monday Nitro, that was me and my father's bonding time. Or WWF Monday Night Raw, which is now WWE Monday Night Raw, that was me and my father's bonding time. I felt like it built a great bond with me and my father, me and my cousins, and the whole family got into it, which really pushed me to really want to do this. Like, I just studied the wrestlers, I studied matches for hours and hours and hours, obsessed with each wrestler, each match, collect all the figures, the whole 9 yards. Every old wrestling fan or still wrestling fan out there can understand my lingo. What inspired me to want to follow my dream, one person only, and that person is Sting. From the blonde hair face paint, to the black hair crow theme, to the face paint. And I was fortunate to finally go face to face with him and meet him in December. And thank you. I'm forever grateful for that. His persona, his in-ring performance, his mic skill is what did it for me. I looked into the TV screen and I looked at my father and I looked at my brother. I'm like, I'm going to do this one day. If I don't get in the ring, I definitely want to write or do something behind the scenes. This is something I always wanted to do, and this is something I'm still going to pursue doing. Sting, Of course, the all-time greats. Of course, Hulk Hogan. Um, all of these guys. Bill Goldberg as well. Uh, Kurt Angle. Me and him had a good interaction too. I did a meet and greet back in 2007. Me and my brother Diamond Dallas Page. Very good guy. Great interaction. This is something that I felt like in some baseline down the line I was destined to do. I'm not ever gonna give up on pursuing it, but again, my main inspiration watching Sting coming off the Raptors in WCW 97, 98, 99. Those were the golden years of professional wrestling. I still watch professional wrestling till this day. Don't get me wrong. It's a great show. It's a great sport. It's a great event. But there's nothing like the golden years when the Monday Night Wars were going toe to toe. On one side you had Sting and Bill Goldberg and Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and the Giant. And on the other side you had Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Mankind. And it was just like everybody was eating at each other's head just to get to the top. And I felt like those were definitely the greatest times of professional wrestling. So that is one, and when I met Sting, I looked him in the eye and shook his hand and said, "Thank you for inspiring me to write a wrestling book," which I have drafted somewhere. We'll get into that later on down the line. Now we're getting into the best part, my favorite part always, the psychological and philosophical effect of my dream. At one point, when I joined the wrestling team, I got hurt, then tried to do professional wrestling during the training, got hurt really bad. And at that point, I gave up. I still was a fan, but I just gave up on just wanting to pursue it. Even on the outside as well, just on the administrative part, wanted to pursue it. So I got into music. I got into hip hop. I started, doing, rap music, is, spreading positive. But my content was more of on the Mos Def, Talib Kweli, the righteous Tupac Shakur before him signing to Death Row, the Roots, that type of content. Never degraded women in my music. Very uplifting. I guess it was just like a coping from the disappointment of me not being able to physically pursue professional wrestling again, on a physical aspect. So that felt like that was a getaway. So for everybody, a lot of people mention like, "Oh, do you do music anymore? Do you rap? Do you produce?" No, I actually don't. It was never my calling. It was something to just cope with while I was dealing with my internal depression of not being able to wrestle again. It was a getaway. It was an escape. So the psychological effect was broken dream versus a reality dream. So my broken dream, I got hurt from wrestling. And also, I was advised by a medical physician because of my birth defect, don't take a chance. So that crushed my world, that crushed my dreams a lot. But on a reality is what I'm currently pursuing. I'm working on a wrestling novel. And I plan on pursuing, some type of writer's storyline. Listen, you ask me anything, I can go back to the 1900s and answer any wrestling trivia question you can ask. So that's the psychological effect breakdown. So broken dreams versus reality dream. So now we're in the age of the reality dream where I'm currently writing a novel and coming up with themes and coming up with places and coming up with certain wrestling characters to put together this masterpiece. But I am forever grateful for the experience, for my peers that I work with, for the people that I talk to during training camp. I'm forever grateful. And also, I felt like music also led to some foundation of who I am today as a writer. Because with music, you have to write, right? I have a musical background. I played the clarinet, saxophone, drums, piano in elementary school and in middle school as well. But I felt like the hip hop tenure at the time that I was doing with the group that I was with and the movement that I was with led me to King University to want to pursue something bigger than just becoming a hip hop artist. It put me into a stance of wanting to be a writer and wanting to be the greatest author of all time and create my own world. So now I'm in this realm of creating my own wrestling world, creating my own ideas. So it still folds back to my dream of wanting to become a professional wrestler, of me wanting, no matter what gets in the way, me pushing and pushing and pushing and never give up at all. So that is the psychological effect. The philosophical effect now, accepting the wrestling broken dreams as it is and turning it into my strengths, into wanting to do something greater and better and move forward with creating this novel that's coming up, creating this type of genre of wrestling that's coming up. I'm not bothered by my injury. I'm not bothered by my birth defect. Everything happens for a reason. I'm still grateful that I am knowledgeable. Anytime I flip the TV, I can identify each wrestler or each timeline. Oh, I remember I was there. I remember, oh, this person, the first WWE champion, Bruno Sammartino. How many days did... The longest WWE champion. The first WWE champion, Buddy Rogers, in 1964. On a snap of a dime, I can answer. How many WrestleManias did John Cena headline? 5. Roman Reigns, about to be 7. Stone Cold, 3. Undertaker, many. Brock Lesnar, quite a few. So, things like that. So I'm accepting the fact that I'm a fan now and a potential analyst of the professional world. That's why I got into doing podcasts with my brother to assist me with that process. And I'm just accepting the broken dream due to unforeseen circumstances. However, there will be a major project in regards to professional wrestling that will be coming up. So the philosophical effect as well of my dream, I'm not bothered. I'm unflinched. I learned a lot about professional wrestling. It's not just going out there and being this 300-pound muscle man guy and sounding like you're on a roid rage in the ring. A lot of these wrestlers have a story that they're telling. It's a storytelling. That's why they claim it as a show, a spectacular, like a soap opera. You're telling a story. Each wrestler has their own journey and their story that relates to their life. Every wrestler you could think of has their character has something to do, a little bit at least, to do with what they went through in life. Ties into their childhood. That's why it takes a while to build that professional superstar to reach the levels of HBK, Bret the Hitman Hart, The Undertaker, Kane, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Hulk Hogans, the Andre the Giant, the Macho Mans, the Roddy Pipers, the Ric Flairs, Sting, Bill Goldberg. Everybody has a story behind their journey in the world of professional wrestling. So, for me to sit back as a fan and as an analyst and as a writer, I'm grateful. I love it. I love it. Because there's a time and place for everything. There's probably a reason why I had to go through the physical training camp and get hurt, to learn like what you see on TV or what they portray, claiming that it's fake. It's not all what you see. That's why they tell you don't try this at home. So I'm forever grateful for being inspired and for still being involved in the world of professional wrestling as a writer. For still being a part of the culture as a fan. For still coming up with ideas to put into the novel. Thank you. Now we are into the conclusion of Writing My Soul Away, episode 8. My dream as a professional wrestler. Understanding and accepting. I'm going to tell everybody out there, as much as I'm the complicated author, but in the heart, I may not be a wrestler on a physical sense, but on a mental and spiritual sense, this is what I live for. This is mainly what I know. This is what I grew up on culturally. Get Dreams Are Poetic on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. And please like, subscribe onto my YouTube channel, Stephane Roche, the Complicated Author.